It all starts with a whisper, a flicker in the dark. In the heart of Silicon Valley, OmniCorp, a tech titan, was hiding a $200 million secret. Its logo was everywhere. Its future seemed unstoppable. But beneath the surface, something was rotten. The person who would expose it? Not a rival, not a regulator, an intern. Layla, 21, invisible in a sea of executives and coders, was about to become OmniCorp's biggest problem. Corporate scandals rarely come from where you expect. Sometimes the hero is just a quiet intern with a conscience. In a forgotten cubicle, Layla was supposed to fetch coffee and make copies. Instead, she saw what others missed. She followed a thread that unraveled a conspiracy threatening to destroy one of the world's most powerful companies. This isn't just a story about numbers or greed, it's about power, trust, and the fragility of systems built on both. When those at the top break the rules, they forget about the people in the shadows. They forget about the interns. Layla was supposed to be invisible, but she learned too much. She saw the lie that could bring an empire to its knees. This is how one intern, armed with nothing but her conscience and a Wi-Fi connection, took on a corporate giant and won. The match was lit. The fall was inevitable. Layla wasn't a prodigy or a disruptor. She was quiet, focused, and nearly invisible. While other interns networked, she dove into her work, seeing patterns and numbers where others saw monotony. Her superpower? Meticulous attention to detail. She didn't just scan spreadsheets, she understood them, finding the one number out of place. Managers gave her grunt work, never realizing they'd handed the keys to the one person who'd check every lock. Layla believed rules mattered, that integrity was more than a word in a mission statement. She wasn't naive, just idealistic, hoping big companies could be honest. Her silence was mistaken for shyness, her focus for lack of ambition. But in her quiet, she was listening. In her focus, she was seeing. Layla was the silent observer in a world of noise. She was about to hear something the whole company wanted to keep quiet. The stage was set. The quietest person in the room was about to make the most noise. She was the perfect person in the perfect place, at the worst possible time for OmniCorp. The discovery began with what looked like a typo. Layla, buried in expense reports, noticed a duplicate $50,000 payment to a shell company, Innovatech Solutions. The payments were huge, vague, and always approved by Marcus Thorne, the Chief Innovation Officer. Layla dug deeper. Innovatech had no website, no real address, just a P.O. box in a tax haven. The payments were regular, totaling nearly $200 million over 3 years. This wasn't a mistake, it was a pattern. Working late, Layla traced the money through a maze of shell companies to a private Cayman Islands account. The account belonged to Marcus Thorne. He'd built a system to siphon millions from OmniCorp, paying himself through a phantom firm. Layla stared at the evidence. She, the invisible intern, had uncovered a massive fraud. The question, what would she do next? The crime was clear. The risk was real. But Layla wasn't about to look away. She was ready to act. The company's fate now rested in her hands. The next move was hers, and she wouldn't back down. With evidence in hand, I did what I thought was right. I reported it to my manager, David. He went pale, promised to escalate, but days passed and nothing happened. When I followed up, he told me to drop it, to focus on my duties. The system wasn't designed to fix problems. It was designed to protect itself. My warning was being buried. I tried the anonymous whistleblower hotline, submitting everything I'd found. Silence. It was clear. The internal channels were a dead end. I was just an intern. Who would believe me over a star executive? Doubt crept in, but my conscience wouldn't let me walk away. If OmniCorp wouldn't police itself, I'd find someone who would. Late at night, I created 2 anonymous email accounts. I sent the evidence to the board of directors and to Sarah Jenkins, a Pulitzer-winning journalist. I hit send. For a moment, the world held its breath. The truth was out. There was no turning back. The storm was coming. The story broke on a Tuesday. OmniCorp's golden boy in a $200 million fraud scandal. Sarah Jenkins's article laid out the scheme, citing an anonymous source. The stock crashed. The news was everywhere. The board panicked. The PR team scrambled. The world expected denials, spin, maybe a scapegoat. Instead, CEO Julian Croft called a live press conference. He looked into the cameras and told the truth. The allegations are true. Mr. Thorne betrayed our trust. He's been terminated. We're cooperating with authorities. Then Croft went further. This failure is mine. We were saved by an intern, someone who had the courage to see the truth and demand it be heard. He apologized to me without naming me. It was a moment of shocking honesty. Croft didn't just admit guilt. He credited the anonymous intern who exposed the crime. The world was captivated. Who was this intern who stood up to a corporate giant? The story became legend. The company's soul was saved by the least powerful person in the building. The world wanted to know, who was Layla, and how did she do it? The fallout was swift. Thorne and others were fired, indicted, and OmniCorp's leadership was overhauled. The company began rebuilding trust with real transparency. Croft, changed by the scandal, stayed on to lead a new culture of integrity. I watched it all unfold from my small apartment. Sarah Jenkins, with my permission, told my story. The OmniCorp intern became a symbol of courage. Job offers and scholarships poured in, but I wanted something different. I turned down the big firms and joined a global nonprofit fighting corruption. My new mission helped others find the courage to speak up. I traveled, trained auditors, and built systems for transparency. I was no longer just Layla, the intern. I was Layla, the advocate. My life was transformed by one act of truth, and I'd never look back. This isn't just a story about a corporate scandal, it's about where true power comes from. Not from titles or corner offices, but from courage and the belief that truth matters. I had no formal power, but I changed everything. My story is a lesson. In a world of giant institutions, it's easy to feel small. But one person, armed with facts and integrity, can move mountains. The world needs more Laylas, quiet observers willing to speak up. Integrity is an active choice made every day. Never underestimate the quiet person in the room. Never assume status equals influence. Never believe you're too small to make a difference. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what matters most. For me, that was the truth. Change starts with a single steady flame in the shadows.
What's something people don't know about stories? They never truly end. There's always a new adventure waiting for you. Just pick your next tale and I'll meet you there. Subscribe to the Story Circle and let me know which story I should tell next in the comments.